of who you are. And this will allow for your personal and professional growth. This will help you create alignment and focus on your efforts, and will help you attract rather than chase opportunities, clients, promotions, projects. If you are a team manager, this is a great tool for you to identify not only what your strengths are as a manager and how to leverage the strengths of people that you manage, and how you can complement each other weaknesses and strengths and create a very cohesive team. So as a team, you also can have a brand identity. What this is not, it's a workshop that it's not aimed at making you a social media influencer. And basically because I really don't know how to. But all of these tools, if you have the technical know-how, then you can definitely do whatever you want and become an influencer if this is what you want to do. Another thing that we're not going to do is we're not going to help you create a made-up identity of yourself, because this is actually based in authenticity. What are your strengths, who you are now, and where you want to go. So this is exactly what the goal of this is. The goal in designing our personal brand is to discover the strongest and most appealing aspects of your character, and then promoting that part of us or of you until you become that embodiment of that trait. So this is not a made-up person, but it is based on who you are, creating a map of where you want to go, and pointing everybody towards that north. So who is doing that right now? I looked at, there are a lot of people that are doing an amazing job with their personal brand, and that allows them to grow beyond who they were to who they are. And I thought of really hard of somebody that, or different people that not only are doing a great job, but that also you can know, because I can talk to you about a lot of other influencers and social media people, but if you don't understand who they are, that doesn't make any sense. Now, the bad thing about that is that most of the people that I'm going to bring as examples are celebrities. So they're not people like you and me. They had the advantage that they were already very well known for something that they were doing, but they were able to transcend that knowledge, transcend that skill to become somebody else. So the first person that came to mind was Rihanna. Rihanna, she came from Barbados. So she was a Caribbean woman who already did what is extremely difficult, which was becoming a pop celebrity icon in the United States and then the world. But then she became the richest musician and the second wealthiest female entertainer based on Forbes, not through her music, but through her image and how she used this image to make other enterprises. So the way that she did this was by positioning herself, her brand, and all the companies that she founded in the concept of diversity. So this company, Savage, which is the underwear, and now it's apparel, and also her makeup line, aimed to have tones, colors, sizes for every type of women. So from the darkest skin to the lightest skin, from the biggest woman and even men, they were going to find something to wear with Rihanna's companies. So that actually makes it the second wealthiest female entertainer. And then we're going to talk about the first. Another person that did a great job transcending her image and use it in something else, and whether you love her or hate her, it worked for her, was Gwyneth Paltrow. Gwyneth Paltrow has been positioning herself as a celebrity and influencer in the wellness world. Now, she was an actress that started her brand just as a newsletter for friends and family. And all of a sudden, her friends and family, also very influential people in Hollywood, started signing up. And all of a sudden, she started selling products, creating products, and associating herself with a lot of people that now gave her validity to her passion of wellness. So she turned her personal passion that was outside from the acting world and leveraged the network that she had of people to become a really big mogul in the wellness industry. Whether you believe it or not, means that you're probably not her audience, because she's very clear on who her audience is. And then, of course, we cannot go through this list without including Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey, or Oprah, because honestly, she doesn't need a last name for us to recognize her, has built all her network, her empire, into the whole principle of empowerment. She used her own story of growing and challenge to become a newscast, to then become an anchor, to then become these people that got surrounded by leaders that allow people for her personal growth. As all of the others and all of us, she has had mishaps and she has made mistakes, but that only makes her more human and more relatable. So a lot of people follow her. And if you are an unknown writer and your book has that orange sticker with an O, you will become a bestseller. So these are people that use her own image and transform them into brands with a very clear meaning. Of course, these people had a lot of money and they had a lot of people working for them. And the difference between them and you is, and me, is that we had time. We can dedicate that time to ourselves. So the tools that I'm going to bring here are very similar to the tools that companies use to create their own brands. I have humanized them to make it not necessarily a corporate process, but a very human process. If you have seen these circles before, this is what's called Ikigai. Ikigai was a Japanese formula for finding happiness. And this is really what a brand is finding all the things that you're good at, what you love, and what pays, what people are going to pay you for, and combine all of this to find your brand and become all that into your personal brand. So if you identify what you're good at and you do what you love, but nobody wants to pay for that, you're going to be very happy, but also poor, because nobody's going to be able to, that's not something that most people find valuable. If you do what you're good at and it pays really well, but that doesn't really make you happy, you may be rich, but you're going to be bored and sad, unfulfilled. If you identify what you love and that pays very well, but you're not good at it, that's just a dream, not really something that it's a way of living. So with this structure, these 3 circles, we're going to create a little bit of a process. So let's start with what you're good at. And this is where that tool that I sent and you guys downloaded, it's going to come in handy. If you did it, it's great. But if you didn't do it, don't worry, because we're going to go through this. And I'm going to give you a little bit of time for you to feel this. So the first exercise is that I'm going to give you guys a minute to list your strengths, things that you're good at. So I'm going to let me keep the time here, very old fashioned. And all right, I'm going to start a minute. So if you guys have a pen or a pencil, or I can open a notepad in your computer or in your phone and try to identify some of your strengths. I'm going to start the timer now. Okay. Who would like to share some of the strengths that you wrote?
I can do it.
All right, Ilyana.
And
Thank you for
surprisingly,
volunteering.
my very first strength is talking.
Good. So you're communicative.
Yes, I'm communicative, I'm project oriented, I'm good at delegating, I'm good seeing the light in every single darkness. I'm super flexible, creative, artistic, just a few.
That's very good. And how did it feel to come up with those strengths?
Easy. I mean,
Wonderful.
felt good.
Good. Good. Now, as you see, I think that you listed about maybe 6 to 8 strengths, and coming up with 20 strengths is very difficult for most people, especially when you're under pressure in a minute and the pen is not handy. So,
Yeah.
Can I share this?
absolutely.
Mhm. So to me, I am in the work. I'm on time. I'm team worker. I'm friendly, and I'm learning, listening, and I'm hard work.
You're what? What was the last word?
I'm hard work.
Okay, hard worker. Very good.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Very, very good. Thank you for sharing. Now, when you guys are listing these strengths, they seem that these strengths that you guys identify in this very short period of time are things that are, most of the ones that you listed are personality traits. And that is fantastic because those are the first ones that should come to mind, because those are the ones that we use every day. Those are the ones that they come from ourselves. So when we're trying to identify and going beyond these 20 strengths or beyond these first 10 strengths that come naturally to us, the idea is that the strengths are things that you know that you have. The next steps are how we're going to show these strengths to the world. And by showing these strengths to the world, then we're going to be able to grow them. And what I mean is showing is applying, and applying is practice. So the more you practice the skills that you have, the more they cement into you, and they're linked to your own, let's call it the work ethics, your values, your personality. Now, there are other ways to get even more strengths. I want us to spend 30 seconds talking about our weaknesses. And listen that I'm only saying 30 seconds because usually those come very quickly. Unfortunately, we all know where we're bad at. So let me give you 30 seconds to write your weaknesses. And I don't want you guys to focus too much on these weaknesses, because the idea to find those weaknesses is that they're usually tied to your strengths. So they help you identify more strengths that maybe don't come out as quickly. So go ahead and start writing down some of what you think are your weaknesses.
Let me something to drink.
Thirsty might be one of them.
Yeah.
All right. So now let's see if somebody is brave enough to share the first weaknesses that came to the paper. Or I'll point at names.
Maybe you can just put them in the chat.
That could be good. Or I'll be brave and I'll share some of my weaknesses with you. Ooh. Somebody has, let me see. Okay, I was able to fix that. So some of my weaknesses, and I wrote them down, are I usually don't pay attention to detail. I'm great at starting, but not so passionate about finishing things. I'm a messy person, and presenting like everybody else, I'm a little afraid to speak in public. So when I put these weaknesses in a list, I'm trying to identify also what they mean, like what is the opposite side of this weakness. So when I'm thinking that I'm not good at attention to details, the first thing is that I know that I have to find people, surround me with people that have the attention to detail that I like, and I have to rely on them. But that also speaks loudly about me, that I'm a big picture thinking. I don't focus on the details, I focus on the big picture. So when I say that I'm not too excited about finishing things, that means that I'm very excited about the beginning. So that makes me really good at a person coming up with ideas, new ideas that allow us to start things and being an innovator. When I'm saying that I am a messy person, sometimes we look at them as a tangent, not, you could say, okay, organization, so I'm on meat. No, let's look at them at a tangent. Because I'm a messy person, that means that I'm very agile and very flexible, and sometimes I had to improvise. If I am not so good as a presenter, the first thing that I do is I sign up for initiatives like this that will make me better as a presenter, but that also means that I'm a good listener. So this is the kind of process that now my weaknesses reveal some of my strengths that didn't come out as easily when I had to think about them. So other way of thinking about strengths and adding more strength to this, what we're going to call the master list of strengths, is thinking about your talents and then your experiences. Your talents are pretty much what you're naturally good at, like the kind of things that Eliana mentioned. That I'm a good speaker. And I can remember, I'm sorry, who was the next person that spoke, and it said, I'm a hard worker. So all these things are part of your talents. So let's think about all of these talents, right? In my case, they say, what am I good at naturally? I'm a creative person. I look at my past. I'm a go-getter. Something that it's part of my traits. I'm Latina. I was born in South America. I was born in Venezuela. We were talking about that. I'm very good at taking really complex concepts and make them simple in terms that people can understand. I'm good at communication. I'm a good listener. I'm a strategic person. So I brought also the things like my passions. I'm good at fitness. I'm health obsessed. I love photography. I love video. So those things that are also my passion that I'm good at, I brought them here. So this list can become bigger and bigger. Then think about your experiences as the things that you have learned and acquired throughout your life, whether it is by education, or in a job, or in your relationships. You can think about your experiences in the terms of your hard skills that are the what you do. So I'm a good brand marketer, I'm a good marketer, I'm a good professional, I'm a good mother, but also how you do it. What makes me a good marketer? What makes me a good mother? So I'm bringing all of these skills and all of these things that I have learned throughout my life, and I add them up as my strength. And that's how you can get to 20, 30, 40, a list of big, big things that are going to define what makes you good at. If you have ever received an evaluation from a boss, try to bring those back. What kind of things did they say? If in your company there are like praises, you've ever received a praise by a colleague, what did he thank you for? What was she grateful for? Bring all of those things and add them up in your arsenal. So the way to fill this box of the strengths is you can convert your weaknesses into strength, look for similar job descriptions of what you currently do, and see what they're asking. Now, I put this one here because this is a way to find what you believe you're good at. And it's also a way of, when you're looking at other job descriptions, whether you are looking for a job or not, we're very good at saying, oh, I don't know how to do this. Oh, I don't do this. I don't have all this. So maybe I shouldn't apply. Maybe this job is not for me. But look at it the opposite way. Highlight the things in this job description that you believe you're good at. And you will find if these things are in your list. And if they're not, then add them. So we talk about the past performance reviews and some compliments. Another thing, once you have filled this, because these are the ones that you have not only received throughout your past, but also you're very aware that you have, there are some online personality tests that are free and that you guys can take. And at the end of this presentation, there is a page, and we can share them, and we can share this at the end. There are a list of resources and that allow you to take this free test. And you're going to discover a lot about yourself that you're like, yes, that's true. I am this person. You're going to be able to add all this to your test. But I encourage you guys to first take the time. So the ones that already did this exercise, you're halfway done. You're halfway done. But I challenge you to add more and more strengths to that list. And after you added these strengths, try to classify them. Highlight the ones that really make you happy, the ones that make other people happy. Try to divide them in, these are the hard skills, this is the job skills, this is the personality, these are my hobbies that I'm terrible at gardening, so I didn't put that as a skill. I love to do it, but I'm not good at it, so that's not my strength. But if you divide them, like compartmentalize them, then you're going to be able to create categories that will make it easier to go to the next stage. So I'm going back to building the offer, and one of the things that I included in that tool was these two boxes that talk about what you think they say and what they really say. Now, this goes beyond you and what you know, and now takes the challenge to people in your circle, people in your life, because we all have different personalities and we have kind of like different strengths that come up in different areas of our life, and they're all part of us, and they could very well be transferable skills if you're thinking about changing your career or going to a new venture or trying something completely different from what you do, but you don't know what that might be. So in this case, reach out to people that are either family, friends, co-workers, clients, and send them a note that's saying, hi, Anne, I'm working on a self-development project and I would love your help. What 3 words would you use to describe me? And most people will bring nice words and not negative words. I don't think I know anybody that have ever given me a negative word when I ask this question. They might be things that surprise you because this is the lens that people are looking at you. While you wait for their answer, write what you think they will say. So you can ask, your partner, you can ask your kids, you can ask your mom, you can ask your neighbor, you can ask other moms in your children's class. Ask this from different people. If these are people that have worked with you before, you can even go to the second question that I have here. And it said, can you tell me when you think I have been at my best? How do you see me? When do you see me happy? And when you write these answers, wait for their answers and compare them. The gap is the opportunity. It's the threat, but it's the opportunity too, because this is the people that know you externally, and they may or may not be receiving the messages that you're sending them. So this is really interesting. And if anybody had the chance of doing this exercise, I would love to hear their feedback. I know that, Anne, you mentioned that you were able to reach out, and from a lot of people you receive a few answers, but it's great because the more people you asked, the more dimension you add to your strength and your personality.
Yeah, I reached out to a family member. I reached out to a good friend, and I reached out to somebody who wasn't such a good friend, but that we knew each other. And it was really, I didn't get everything that I put, which was really kind of fun. But the one thing that I did get, I always feel is one of my biggest strengths is, they said that I was kind.
That is fantastic.
I think I'm kind.
Did they express any of the strengths that you had written before, but you did not expect that they were going to say?
No, because I didn't put any of those down as strengths.
Okay,
They
but
are.
now you know that you
They
can.
are. They
Absolutely.
absolutely are.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing. So then that brings us back to the circle. At this point, we are talking about what you're good at. So let me say, before I do that, so let's jump to then what pays well, what people will pay you to do. This is really finding out what your clients' needs are, what your customer needs are. And first, you have to identify, if you, of course, are looking for a job, your clients and customers are going to be all the people, honestly, everybody, because that you can get a lead from anybody. But they're going to be, you can find information from job descriptions. If you are the ones you can find in LinkedIn or in the websites of companies. So even if you are in your job and you want to grow within your job, look within your company. What are the job descriptions of roles that you want to do? Look around you about people you admire. What stand out? Why do you admire, and why would you think that you would like to be like them? So these are people that are being already successful and that have achieved something similar to where you want to go. You can look on your own company website. I'm sure that there's a lot of people who took the time to write down where their value and the mission and the vision is, and you can see how they align to your strengths. How about the leadership in your company, their bios, and your boss's bio? Look at the way they sell themselves, because these are all these things that at least your company or the people that are going to give you opportunities are paying for and are valuing as well. Go a step beyond. Look at industry journals in your industry, look at journals in your industry and the social media and see what's happening. What are the events? Like there's a lot of, in moments of transition, they need people that can react fast, that are quick on their feet, that can be good with the unexpected. So those are things that tell you are in high now, are in high demand, and people will pay for those skills. One of the ways, and these are two tools that I have used, is in this case, one is the word cloud. And again, this is a resource that I added and in the last page. And I chose 3 almost random job descriptions. In my particular case, these were marketing managers. And I literally copy and pasted these 3 different job descriptions into this tool, into this word cloud. What a word cloud does is that it takes the words that are highly repeated and it organizes them by size, I'm sorry. So you see that in this particular, in these industries, in the marketing and branding industry, right now, this is what these companies were asking for. And I, of course, look for companies in my field that are health and fitness, but they're looking for very similar things. And the more job descriptions that I add, the highly repeated words and characteristics that I'm going to get. Then, of course, you use some criteria to filter this. So the biggest one that comes here is experience. So these are companies that are looking for certain years of experience. They want for communication. They want teams. They want, you see that there's problems, strategies, building, ideas, messaging, communication. So these are words that are coming frequently. And this is a way to extract these words. If you want to take 5, 6, 10 job descriptions and put them there, and you'll get to understand what are the skills that people are, that in your industry and in your role, they're paying for. Another way is to grab these job descriptions or some of these articles and put them on ChatGPT, this artificial intelligence tool, and ask them, please summarize the key requirements from, or the key points from these job descriptions. And it will group all of this list in key categories. And then you can see in these categories which ones are the ones that resonate. So I took them from these same job descriptions, and the categories that ChatGPT gave me was to be a thought leader, to be a brand steward, to help win new clients, 10 years of experience, 10 or plus years of experience. They ask for presentation skills, innovative ideas, drive the communication, problem solving. So you can bring then all of these words in what are the needs that the market has right now. So coming back to our original circles, on one side, I'm putting all the list of skills. And here I made a little bit of organizing. I organized that list of skills that I put for me. And then on the other side, I put the list of things that are in high demand right now. And I'm trying to see the patterns, try to see what are the words that then are going to make me happy, the things that resonate with me. This is probably the hardest part of this process because it takes time to see what's the path. You see what you're good at, you see what pays well, and then you're saying, yeah, but this is not really my call. Like if I go into, I'm putting for one of the things are intellectual. It's like, well, yeah, I think that I'm a highly educated person, but that sounds a little stuffy. I don't think that portraying myself as an intellectual is really a reflection of me. It's one of my strengths, but it's not the one that I want to be known for. So when you see all of these skills and all these needs, you try to nitpick which are the ones that you want to be known for. It helps to see what are the skills that people listed you as the strengths that people listed you as for, and filling that gap. Like, for example, for an Anne's, they listed some that surprised her. They say, well, does that make me happy? What was my reaction when they say that? Actually, I'm kind. That made me really happy. And probably that's why Anne is leading these organizations. She is putting all these efforts together. I'm going to guess that this is a job that makes Anne happy. So this is when you start putting all of these things together. Now, how do we create that narrative that it's going to be unique and it's going to help us stand out? Again, I'm only going to be able to use my own example as a person. The way I did this was using the what am I? How I am good at that. That's how it makes me different. And then for whom do I do this? Who is my audience? So what I'm doing is I'm digesting who I am for the people that I believe are going to pay for this. It's not for everybody. The way I did this seems very similar to what Anne read. And I'm highlighting this, I'm underlining these keywords that are coming from the original list. So this right now, it's a mouthful. I'm going to read it out loud because now reading, when Anne said it, you guys were like, yeah, whatever. But now that I'm going through this is not exactly what I'm going to use, but this is who I am. This is the narrative that I am going to put out there. So I say Gabby is a brand consultant that helps wellness and fitness brands to stand out in a competitive market. Her strategic prowess, her creative flair, and knack for simplification, I'm trying to be a little poetic here just to say her strategy thinking, her creativity approaches. No, I'm trying to enrich this a little bit, right? It's part of my personality. Help reveal the essence of every brand, defining its strength, the audience, and the path to push beyond its comfort zone. Now, how do I validate this? I say for over 20 years, because remember, experience seemed to be important in my industry. For over 20 years, she has been sought after by names like TRX, Therabody, the US Army, and Johnson & Johnson, and is the co-founder of Drake Global Strategy. But I'm not just my career. An avid explorer, Gabby is a fearless Latina that collects passport stamps and experiences to fuel her own growth. So this adds a little bit of tone and texture to who this person is. Again, when somebody asks me, who are you? I'm not going to spit all this out because it's a mouthful, but this is my north. This is my north that puts things into perspective and allows other people to create a picture and communicate a picture of me, even when I'm not there to tell it. How do I embody this brand? Well, I brought the same format that I use for Rihanna and Oprah. And I said, my brand is the brand fit. I help create a brand fit for other people. So for LinkedIn, I say, helping athletic health and wellness brands successfully connect with the fit customer through brand, marketing, communication, and product. And then I also throw out some of the things that I believe I'm good at, that I know people are looking for. I'm a brand consultant, I'm a facilitator, I'm a storyteller, and leadership. So 20 years ago or 15 years ago, I wouldn't have used this description. So know that this is something that evolves, but it creates a north to all my efforts. Here I share for the future, the websites where I'm use myself as just as a brand consultant. The first one is my portfolio. The second one is my company. And the third one is just a link to my LinkedIn. And I invite, of course, all of you guys to connect with me, because I always like to see the growth and where you guys are taking this. So a way to embody your brand is to make it part of your story. So think about your story, narrate your story, and embed these elements to help you get linked to the things that you want to be known as. So let's say that yesterday I was in a barbecue and somebody asked me, so what do you do for a living? I didn't throw out all that narrative, but I did say I'm a brand consultant, which means I help companies that particularly focus on the fitness and the action area to help their brands and find the right audience. So if they look at me and they want to ask more questions, then I can add on. But if they look at me with a puzzled look, I just elaborate, well, brand, for example, like for TRX, I did this or that. So it is a little bit of a process, and you have to practice, make like a 15-second version and a longer version. Or when somebody in the office or ask you, so how your day has been, you can say, actually, it's been great. I woke up this morning, I did my workout, had a healthy breakfast, and now here I am. I tie myself to those things that I want to be known as in just a casual conversation. Another way to embody your brand is that you need to toot your own horn. And if you know, that doesn't mean that you're going to do it all the time. This is a world where people who brag are not well known. But if you have your 3 or 4 or 5 skills that you want to be well known for, if you did a project, if you're trying to promote yourself as, you know, getting a new business, that you're good at getting new business and the company gets a new business, you promote that. You put it on LinkedIn, you share, maybe you share it with your team, say, hey guys, congratulations to all of you for hard work. We did this. You congratulate other people for those skills. So you can also help other people, particularly in your team, for achieving accomplishments using their own strengths. So you're actually would be helping create a culture that incentivizes the strengths and values the strengths. And the more you value your strengths, and you get those back as well. So as a leader, this is something that applies for people that manage other people. If you know what are your passions and you want to be known as the person that know your passions, you read about them, you educate about them, you follow, think about the people that you follow in social media, which blogs you listen to, which magazines you buy, which books you read, and share those nuggets of information that you find. It's a little bit that you think people know, people don't know. You know, because that's your passion and you're committed to that. So share about them. Then this has to do with what we talked about earlier. You are consistent with communicating what your strengths are and practicing your strengths, and also practicing whatever it is to surpass your weaknesses. And not only people will see it, but the strengths will become even stronger, and you'll be able to overcome your weaknesses in the eyes of other people. We talk about overcoming your weaknesses. So I'll go to the next. So this is actually the resource page that I wanted to share with you guys. This is something that will help you find your strengths beyond the ones that came naturally to you. The 16 personalities, I would put it first, because this This is particularly a test that a lot of companies use to put teams together. Universities also use to put classes together because they really dig into the strengths. It's long. It takes about 30 minutes to do, but it's worth it. It's really, really worth it. If there's one that you guys should do, that's the one. And the ones that companies use is very expensive, but here in this link, you can get the version for free. And they, of course, are going to try to sell it to you. Just say that they email it to you and they will. You don't need to pay for it. Word cloud, there are a lot of tools that do word clouds. This one in particular is free. And that's the one you can control the font, you can control the colors. And if you're a visual person, this is good. If you're not a visual person, then go to the generative artificial intelligence, which is just ChatGPT. If you guys are not familiar with ChatGPT, you can just highlight, use pen and paper and a highlighter. But the idea is that ChatGPT will save you time and will help group categories in ways that you probably wouldn't have necessarily thought of. This is something that actually helps you write and edit copy as well. So if your own narrative, you can write it down and then you say, rewrite this or make it more impactful. Simplify this, because sometimes our stories can get pretty lengthy. So just open an account with ChatGPT and play with that information. It is like bouncing ideas with a colleague. I cannot stress enough how helpful it is. And no, ChatGPT is not going to steal your jobs. It will make you better and it will save you time. And lastly, for people who are not designers, Canva is the tool that I use to make this presentation, but you can use it to play with different colors and logos and communications. If you need to do a presentation and you are not sure how it should look, find inspiration there. When it comes to doing your personal brand, most of us don't need a logo. We don't need a tagline. What we need is an understanding of who we are, what people need, and combining those things and finding what path will make us happy. That helps us create an identity that then will help you create a stronger networks, will help you decide what you're going to wear for a particular interview, if you're going to need to, which clients you want to go for, which things are you going to highlight from your past, which points you want to use to toot your own horn and which ones you're just going to let pass. But this is what creating a personal brand is. And this is how I believe that you can use it to help you grow personally and professionally. And that's it. I wanted to see if you guys had any questions, and you can feel free to put them in the chat. I'm going to stop the screen share and encourage you guys, if you have any questions, if you did the exercises and if you didn't know how to go on the self-assessment or how to get questions. So feel free to we have time to do it, right, Anne?
Yes, we do. We have some time. So does anybody have any questions for Gabby? Comments?
I do have a question, Gabriela.
Yes, Gabby's fine.
Gabby's fine. Gabriela sounds more poetic. Thanks.
Yes, it does.
No, I'm just wondering, like, when posting like a LinkedIn, like talking specifically about that, what would you recommend for that, like a introductory line? Like, how much is too much to put there?
I think that LinkedIn will let you know how much is too much, because they will not let you write. There's a limit of words that you can put, but it really depends on how much you want to say. I think that the most important thing is that after you do this narrative, create a condensed version, create different versions. And that's where, for example, ChatGPT will help you, because you can say, make sure that you include this word, and this word.
Okay.
Think about your audience. Is your audience somebody who's going to, because LinkedIn will just show you a little bit. They're not going to show you everything. So is your audience the kind of people that are going to click to read more, or are they just going to scroll down to the next thing? So there's no right or wrong answer. I think it depends on who your audience is and what you want to communicate. Particularly, I think that most people don't have time. So I will say leave it to maybe 4 or 5 lines. And I guess I mean that not cell phone 5 lines, because cell phone
Right.
could be a very long paragraph, but
Okay. Thank you.
I've
welcome.
used ChatGPT. That is amazing, that tool. It's literally, they read your mind. You know, you ask a question and it just spits out answers. You know, I've done, you know, what are the 5 ingredients that I need for the best brownies? And it will just give it to you. I mean, anything. You know, it's an amazing tool. And no, it's not going to take everybody's job. Absolutely not. That's a great tool. And that word clouds too, I really liked what you brought up. That's fun, because that then, you know, you can see everything around that one particular word, that one particular thought.
My mom used to say that creativity is like a kaleidoscope. The more colorful pebbles you add, the more interesting shapes you get. And with all of these elements, try to bring a lot of information. Like for this word cloud, I only use 3 job descriptions, but venture to use 10, 15 and add them. And you're going to be able, like the words are going to get really, really big, because they're asking for the same thing. They're asking for the same thing. Most job descriptions, if you want to grow in your company, look for the company website and bring different pages. What's the mission, their vision? Then go to the job description, maybe for the job that you aspire to get, and put it there. It's going to be very clear what are the words that stand out. One of the things that I wanted to share as well is that when you're thinking about strength, there are a lot of strengths that you don't think, or you know, based on these tools, that people are not going to pay for, but you have a lot of fun doing it. So you can use all of these strengths or all of these passions to get you better at the things that people will pay for. So let me give you an example. I love cooking. I put that in one of my strengths. It was buried in there. And I also love to explore new things. But I know that I'm also not too good. I'm great at speaking here in front of the computer, but when I need to speak in front of 200 people, of course that I get a little freaked out. So one of the things that I started doing to overcoming this is I started signing up in my local supermarket to teach my neighbors about how to cook with interesting recipes. In my case, I really love ferments. So kombucha, sourdough bread, a lot of people are interested in those things. And I read books about it, and I listen to people who talk about how important it is for your own nutrition. So I say, you know what? I'll sign up and I'll teach a class about that. So it's going to be a free class. People are not going to pay me for it, but it's going to make me a better presenter. It's going to make me a better moderator, and it's going to strengthen a lot of the skills that people will indeed pay for. So I encourage people to also do that. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's something you enjoy and will make you happy. So you're going to be learning and becoming better by doing something that will make you happy.
Any other questions for Gabby?
I think I have my hands up. I don't know if you saw me.
Oh, I
Oh.
did not.
Didn't, sorry.
Hi, Ola.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Great to see you.
Yeah.
Ask away.
Yeah, actually, I just want to comment on this. This is huge, and this is so important for self-image, because having a positive self-image can really help you to to make very important moves in your career. So thank you for doing this. I know you mentioned something about creating images or graphics, that there's a website. I didn't catch the name of the website.
It's called canva.com. What it does is that it helps people who are not designers like me to create some things, presentations, logos, posts. So if, let's say that you decide that your brand is going to be about traveling, right? Just thinking about that. Then you can choose what are your colors. Are they going to be earthy? Is it going to be blue like the sky? And then you go to Canva and you look for templates to post on LinkedIn. And they're already in the right size. And you say blue, in the blue line of colors, or the browns, and they will have that. So all you do is you put the link to the article that maybe you want to share, and it'll bring free photos as well that you can use, and it will look so professional. You can even put the banner on your LinkedIn or on your Facebook or on your Instagram. If you want to start using the different types of social media to promote this brand that you want to embody, you can create and be consistent just by using Canva. It's a tool that it's free. Of course that there is a paid version of the tool, but I get away with the free tool. I've gotten away with this for years. And I believe that give you either a free month or 90 days or something like that. So you can subscribe for the paid version if there's like a font that you really want to use, or a photo that you really want to use, that it's safe for the premium paid customers. And then before the month, just make sure that you cancel it and it's still free for you. You can continue use it.
Yeah, that leads me to another question. So how do you differentiate between giving an elevator speech and also trying to talk about your brand?
Your defining your brand will help you define your elevator speech, because the elevator pitch is a concise 15-second, I guess, version of this long narrative. So describe what are the things that I want to say in just 15 seconds. And this is also going to change, because you're not necessarily going to use the same elevator pitch if a colleague asks you, what is it that you do? If that, let's say that you're at a trade show and you're just meeting somebody, or if the guy in the Uber just asks you, hey, so what is it that you do? You probably are going to use something a little bit more generic. So have a few versions. And something that I actually learned is that you have to practice, because it doesn't roll out of your tongue. And I've been working on my own for months. And still when people ask me, what do you do? I still have to think for a second, okay, what is it that this person wants to know about me? And sometimes it's just making conversation, but you evaluating what situation you are, if they're really just asking, hey, how are you? Or if they really want to hear about you. Most people, if you have time to engage in a conversation, let's say that you're just waiting for something, then they have time and you can talk about what you do and give a little bit more detail. So an elevator pitch pretty much can be another element to embody your brand.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was a great question, Ola. Thank you for that. Yeah, I too use Canva. If anybody sees our posts on all the social media, that is all done by Canva, through Canva. So it's vibrant, you can change it up, you can add different pictures and fonts and memes and colors and just everything. It's a
And
great
it removes it removes the fear or of, am I doing this right? Is the picture going to come blurry? Is this the right size that LinkedIn is going to allow?
Yes.
You can also use the same colors and designs that you use on LinkedIn. You can use them on Facebook. You can use them on Instagram and Pinterest and whatever it is. Like if you're trying to venture into your knitting hobby and making it a business, then yes, you can also communicate that through Pinterest and so many other choices. It's a great free tool.
Any other questions, comments? Well,
Wonderful then.
then I'd say thank you, Gabby, for a
You're very
great-
welcome. I
great-
will send you and this presentation in a PDF, so it's not going to have all the fancy animations, but hopefully it'll have the links. It'll come with the clickable links that will help all of you guys. And feel free to reach out to me. I'm open, I'm approachable.
Yes, and I will, when I get those slides from Gabby and I get the list for the participants, I'll send the recording as well. So you can kind of follow along again, because there was a lot of great information. I was taking some notes myself and I love branding, so very good, very, very helpful, very easy to understand. So thank you. Thank you for once again, speaking to our group. We really appreciate it.
You're very welcome anytime.
All right, ladies. Well, I thank you so much for hopping on and taking, a little time from your evening. And I hope you got some great value and it was definitely worth it for you. I know it was for me. And I look forward to seeing you at the next PWG. Have a good evening, ladies. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Enjoy
Good
the rest
night.
of your evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You said that you're gonna send the link in the PDF maybe by next week?
Yes, Estella. I will do that as soon as it's got to upload and then download, and then I'll get it and I'll send it out with, I'll put it together with her slides. So you have it in one email.
All right, that's awesome, because she gave a lot of information and stuff. I'm
It
right now walking
was,
my dog. That's why I have
it was a lot of information. It was for sure. All good though, all relevant, all great. Spot on,
yes.
Gabrielle. Spot on.
Thank
So,
you.
Thank you.
Super
Thank you.
good. All right, have a good
Yeah.
evening. Thanks for hopping
you.
on. Really
Bye.
appreciate
Good
it.
night. I'll stop the recording.
That's what I was just